Today I'm going to be telling you about a British sci-fi film called Flawless. Spoilers ahead, so be careful and stay safe. Our story begins with a hand digging in the dirt and finding what appear to be gemstones. These gemstones are actually rough diamonds. We are then transported to bustling London, where we notice an elderly lady named Laura Quain sitting in a cafe. She is visited by a young newspaper reporter named Casey, who hopes to write an article about the woman. As they talk, Laura pulls out a 168-carat diamond that has 58 facets. Cassie is amazed by all this. She picks up the diamond and Laura begins to tell the story of how she stole the diamond from a London diamond company. We are then transported to London in the 1960s. Laura is a young businesswoman. She leaves the London Diamond Corporation building where she works as a manager for the company. She says hello to an elderly cleaner named Mr. Hobbs, and we see a man named Mr. Eaton, followed by two men with small carts. Ethan opens a large storage room. After this, they load the carts with diamonds and take them to tables where they are inspected for flaws. Outside, the owner of the company, known as MK, and his son Ali approach the building. At this point, many protesters flock to them. As they enter the office, the directors and employees are waiting to discuss the latest news about the 100 diamond miners who have died in the mines in Africa. Laura informs MK that the Russians will likely sever ties with the company due to the negative press. MK announces the appointment of a new managing director, Peter Bolden. Laura is not chosen because the company will not break tradition and will always appoint only men. Later, we see Mr. Hobbs, the cleaner, enter Laura's office. He tells her that he believes people should be brave and take what they want. Laura then leaves the building as usual and goes home. The next day, Laura runs into a man named Harold Reynolds in the hallway, whom she met at Oxford University. He gives Laura a business card and offers her a job with his company. The next morning, she finds her inspirational note and a negative reply written underneath. She also finds a cinema ticket with the showtime on the back. Curiosity gets the better of her, and she goes to the movies on her lunch break. When Laura enters the theater, Mr. Hobbs appears and offers to sit with her. The girl is losing her patience, but the man says that he overheard the manager talking about how her work will soon to steal enough diamonds to get rich, but not enough to be noticed. The woman is not sure whether to believe him or not, and warns Hobbs that he will never get away with it. Later at work, Laura finds a letter of resignation to make an appointment with Harry Reynolds after all. And when Laura goes to see him at the restaurant, he tells her that his company cannot offer her a job because she is incompetent. It seems that her company has spread bad rumors about her. That night, the girl falls asleep on the couch and has a dream about security guards at work catching her trying to steal diamonds from the company. The next night, she goes to the dog track to find Hobbs. There, a woman asks him how he can rob the company, and Hobbs tells her that he has a plan. At the apartment, the man explains everything he has thought of. Since the codes to the vault change weekly, he will need Laura to find the notes on how to open the safe. They are in MK's office, which is in his house. Hobbs tells Laura that when she goes to an event to entertain the Russians, she will have to find the codes in MK's house. He also explains to her that he can take all the diamonds they need in his thermos so that they can both rest comfortably for the rest of their retirement. On the night of the event, Laura talks to MK's deputy and Sir James. He tells the girl how Sir Sinclair, the director of an insurance company, was once involved in a health insurance scandal but was not held accountable. After this, MK introduces them to Dmitriev, the head of the Russian diamond department. Dmitriev asks Laura to dance, and later our girl goes upstairs and goes to MK's office to find the security code. Laura hears footsteps and quickly hides, at which point MK enters. He opens a small safe and the girl watches him and memorizes everything she needs to do to open it. Once the man leaves, she opens the box and finds the security code. The next day, Laura sees a man installing security cameras in the hallway. Later, she meets Hobbs and tells him that 8 security cameras are being installed. She tells him that the cameras turn on and off for 60 seconds at a time. He assures her that this gives him enough time to enter and exit the vault. Hobbs then mops the floor in the security room and spots a camera. In the restroom, he looks at his stopwatch and makes his move. Watching the running hand, he runs to the vault and enters the code. Meanwhile, Laura calls the security room to distract everyone and give Hobbs a little more time. The man looks at his stopwatch again, then unlocks the vault and hurries down the hallway, out of the camera's view. The next morning, Laura watches Hobbs and sees him leaving work. But one of the clerks calls him back inside. Hobbs must unlock the restroom before he leaves. After this, the man finally returns home, and at home he pours tea from a thermos into the sink, but unfortunately, there are no diamonds there. The next day, all the diamonds Laura goes down to the lobby and finds Jameson in a panic. She immediately goes to the ladies' room. And at that moment, Mr. Ethan calls her to bring the vault. When she comes in, she cannot believe her eyes. The vault is empty. Mr. Ethan shows a man named Finch the layout of the publication, tells him that the only way into the vault is through the door. Now MK tells the entire management that there will be no police investigation because the publicity will destroy the company. Sinclair introduces Finch as the chief insurance investigator. Laura sees Hobbs in the lobby, but he assures her that everything is fine. Later, the girl goes to MK's office, and we see a man named Boyle, who sends a letter to MK Apparently, about buying Boyle some inventory. Boyle does not know the identity of his client and the contents of the letter. At this moment, the man is called away on the phone, and while he is away, MK reads the letter, which says that the diamonds can be bought for £100 million. Before leaving, Boyle hands over a small package to MK. The man opens the package, which contains a huge diamond known as the South African Star. Later, Finch asks Laurie some questions and notices that she is very nervous. The next morning, Laura offers Jameson to work with Finch to help with his investigations. The girl finds Finch and they go down to the shelter together. He tells her that the CCTV cameras aren't very secure because of the 60-second time frame. Finch also explains that there was no break-in. She suggests that the thief must have known the combination. We then see Sinclair offering MK a man £5 million to buy enough diamonds to continue trading, but MK wants all the diamonds back now. When Finch suggests that MK's son Ali might be involved in all this, the man loses his temper and threatens to ruin Sinclair unless he pays the ransom. We now see Hobbs in the underground canal. Laura tells him that they have to return the diamonds and make a deal, but he explains that if she does, they will go to prison. Laura then looks at the floor plan of the building when Finch comes in to take her fingerprints. He says it is just a formality, and then the man asks her to accompany him, while he questions Hobbs. Finch asks the man some questions, at which point our detective's assistant comes in, calling him off. Before Hobbs leaves the office, Laura tells him that they will have to negotiate. The man then explains that this case is worth 100 lives in prison. We then see Finch looking at Laura's fingerprints, and comparing them to some from MK's house. Laura, in her free time, opens Hobbs' locker to find the key with the diamonds. She later joins Finch for a drink at a nearby bar. At the London Diamond Building, journalists arrive after Sinclair warns them that the diamonds have been lost. Sinclair's chairman, Sir Gottfried, attempts to hold back the press. MK comes down the stairs at this point, and has a heart attack. He falls to the floor, dying. Back at the bar, Finch asks Lorne how she managed to get all the diamonds, but she professes. At this point, Fincho reports MK's heart attack and he leaves. In the ladies' room, Laura drops a diamond from her earring while draining the sink. She pulls out a pipe from underneath it, and suddenly realizes how Hobbs must have gotten all the diamonds. Laura takes a torch and enters the underground drainage system. As she walks through the tunnels, Hobbs appears with a torch. She threatens to turn him in, but the man points a gun at her and tells her to stay here. Laura knocks the gun out of his hands and then runs through the tunnel, but trips and falls. We then see a huge diamond on the floor, which she puts in her pocket. Hobbs tells Laura that his wife's cancer could have been removed, but the insurance company made her wait too long for the operation. By then, the cancer had become too aggressive. Sinclair was the chairman of the insurance company at the time, who delayed the operation. And so Laura realizes that Hobbs is taking revenge on Sinclair. The man tells the woman that Sinclair took the only thing he truly loved. We then see Godfrey tell Sinclair that he has agreed to pay a ransom of £100 million. Sinclair goes to the office and shoots himself. Laura tells Hobbs how she dropped the diamond in the sink, and then sorted everything out. We now see a flashback of Hobbs taking all the diamonds out of his work cart and into his workshop at regular intervals. Alia receives a message that the ransom has been credited to the account, but the note from Boyle showing the location of the diamonds is empty. We then see Hobbs pouring the diamonds down the sink, and the South African Star was actually at the bottom of the toilet that Hobbs was asked to clean. The man now points a gun at Laura and pulls the trigger. To her surprise, the gun was not loaded. He tells her that it doesn't matter now because the money will be paid. The man turns off the flashlight and leaves. Laura walks down the tunnel, looking around every corner. Eventually, she finds all the diamonds piled up at the end of the drain. We then see men carrying boxes of diamonds out of the underground tunnel, and Laura sitting on the steps, wrapped in a blanket. Finch tells her that he lost 5% of his fee. Laura is about to confess, but Finch stops him at the last moment. He says that he doesn't want her to spend the rest of her life behind bars. The man says goodbye. Laura remembers that she has a large diamond in her pocket, but decides to keep it. We then see Oli telling Prizzle that the diamonds were not stolen, and then allowing him to take pictures of the entire vault. Dmitriev signs the contract again to cement his relationship with the company. Back to the present day, Laura is talking to Cassie. She tells her that she left the company a month later, as soon as she received a letter from a Swiss bank informing her of a transfer of £100 million into her account. Laura hands Casey the manuscript of her story to publish, hoping that it will inspire other women. We see Laura donate all the money to worthy charities around the world. Casey reads the last words of the manuscript and sees that it says, "It's an amazing world. You will either be a giver or a believer." She goes outside to find Laura, but she has already left. So guys, how did you like this video? Don't forget to write about it in the comments. Like the channel to promote, turn on notifications and subscribe. And we